so funny hearing someone talk about you, and I'm wondering who wrote that, because 35 years or 30 years of experience makes, and I'm only 20 years old, so I don't know how I got all that experience. I guess I just doubled up, but anyway, happy to be here. This is basically the direction that I got for this workshop, and it's a lot of information. So I tried to kind of seethe it down to just 4 agenda items in about a half an hour to 45 minutes, and hopefully that'll be helpful for you. But when we talk about franchises, how many of you are franchisees? Okay, so just 1 or 2. How many are franchisors? Okay, and how many of you own restaurants? How many of you supply restaurants? Okay, how many of you are excited to be here just because you got a chance to see Mike Feinman present? Okay, well that's why I'm here, because I was excited to present, because I haven't done this in a while. But anyway, what I'm going to go through today, I think is not only going to help you if you're a franchisee, franchisor, supplier, but it's also going to help you as a human being, frankly, because we're going to talk about some things that help in life in general. My experience, as she talked about, I worked for PepsiCo, worked for Taco Bell, 24 Hour Fitness, Samuel's Jewelers, and today I've got a company called Texas Business Brokers, and actually now it's called US Business Brokers because we're in Kentucky and Illinois and soon to be in California and Florida, so we're really growing. I own 3 Fazolis, which is kind of like my day job, so to speak. I actually ended up with an interest in a company called Zero Fox Shop because we had it sold and the seller decided not to sell it, decided to let us run it. So my partner and I have kind of taken it over, and we've grown it about 4x since we've taken over the company. We're doing $900,000 a month in sales when we used to do $250. So it's really going great. And then of course, Retail Growth Associates, which is my consulting arm, and it's a lot of what we're going to talk about today. So taking that paragraph before and seething it down to 4 kind of key agenda items, let's talk about cultivating culture. So that was one of the things that they wanted me to talk about. And this helps whether you're cultivating culture in a company or whether you're cultivating culture at home, in a family, or however you're doing it. What we talk about, I think, will really help. Second is inspiring employees. So we'll talk about how to inspire employees. And if you're using that at home, you just have to be careful, because a lot of times I use that stuff at home and my wife said, don't use that work stuff on me. So you have to, what I call, camouflage it so that your family doesn't think you're trying to treat them like employees. Standing out. So we'll talk about how do you stand out in this very, very crowded environment, which is a challenge that we have at Fazoli's, and it's something that I'm really working through. So I'll share with you kind of the model that I'm using to try to do that, and try to figure that out. And then finally, how do you adapt to your marketplace? The demands that are happening in our marketplaces, they're constantly changing. I can tell you, for example, my Fazoli store that I have, it's right across the street from Baylor University in Waco, Texas. 2 years ago, we had 7 competitors: Taco Bell, Wendy's, Torchy's, which I know the guy from Torchy's came up here and talked, but we only had 7 of them. We have 21 of them now, including In-N-Out opened up. Chick-fil-A opened up right next door. Whataburger scraped and rebuilt their restaurant, and now it's the largest restaurant in the country. So you want to talk about a changing environment. In College Station, where one of my Fazolis is, the whole trade area moved, which we've all seen that in our career, those of you who've been around for a while. Well, talk about adapting to market needs. Everything's changed, and we have to completely go back to the drawing board, try to drive traffic. So a lot of what I'm going to talk about today is not ideas for how to do that, but really ways of how to think about it so that you can get to the answer, because everybody's marketplace is different. And I will not propose to come up here and tell you what you should be doing in your marketplace or within your business. So when we talk about cultivating strategy, a lot of people forget that leadership, we drive the strategy, right? And once we drive that strategy, we build a culture around that strategy, and then we hope that that creates results. If we don't build the right culture, now this is important. We have this strategy, this great strategy, which I'll show you a model for that in a minute, and we build the wrong culture, or we get the wrong people, we end up having to go back and dummy down the strategy, because we didn't create the culture that's going to accomplish that strategy. So it's very, very important for us to realize that we create that strategy, but then we build the culture around it, or what I'll talk about in a little bit, the enabling culture, to accomplish that strategy and therefore drive results. So when you're cultivating culture, it's not just trying to create a positive culture where everybody's happy and smiling. That's important, but you're trying to do that, that's going to drive results. So I've always allowed my team to accomplish that. For example, This is what we came up with. So this is a card that every employee has. So this is for the Fazoli's business. So our mission is to be America's favorite fast casual Italian restaurant. Our vision is growth cubed. So we want to grow our people, grow our teams, and ultimately grow our company. So that's kind of our vision. Our enabling culture, we kind of organize it around captivate, communicate, and collaborate. And then we've got some words under each of these. I'm not saying yours should be this, but it should be this clear, and everybody should know it, and it should be something that enables you to accomplish your objective. So let your team help in defining it. I promise you that every single time I've allowed my team to help me do stuff like that, it's 3 times better than if I would have done it. So, once we release ourselves to our team and let them be a part of it, they end up owning it. But culture starts with us. We can't talk about a culture, we can't have them come up with a culture and then us not follow it. So if we're late to meetings, if we're not looking in their eyes, which I'll talk about in a little bit, if we're not asking them questions, trying to get their feedback, if we're not coaching, if we're not doing the things that we're supposed to be doing, guess what? They're not going to do it. And we all know they're not going to do it even worse. So it creates a lot of problems for us. So I talk about an enabling culture, and here's what I mean by that. Typically when I work with companies, the first year is about getting organized, getting structured, and starting to build marketing plans. Because most companies don't have any of that. So the first mission usually is just, let's get organized, let's put structure in place, let's put standards in place, let's institutionalize what we're doing. It's working, but it's basically if we bring a bunch of new people in, it's going to fail. Well, when you grow, if you double in size, you brought twice as many people in. So a Zero Foxtrot is an example. You can't go from doing $250,000 a month to doing $900,000 a month and not build structure to be able to handle that kind of growth. And we haven't missed a beat, thank God. But you have to plan for that. Then that mission that's for this next year, you build your strategies around it. I always say PSP, people, sales, profit. So I got 3 of my strategies done. I'm going to build a strategy around my people, I'm going to build a strategy around sales, and I'm going to build a strategy around profit. But there's other things like maybe real estate and maybe finance, specifically for an acquisition standpoint or whatever it may be. So typically you're going to end up with 5 to 7 strategies, and then under each strategy you're going to have a tactical plan, which is nothing more than what we're going to do, who's going to do it, when's it going to be done by, and then I always put a status column so that we can update and see where we stand. So you probably know all this, but what's important is once you have this done, you have to get clear on what the enabling culture is. You have to come up with those words. So those words such as project energy, or those words such as excitement is contagious, smile. These are parts of our culture. Or for communicate, be proactive, no surprises. It's not fair to surprise your counterparts, not fair to surprise your people or your bosses. So that's what I mean by that enabling culture. And it's so important. And then you hire for it. So most people do not like interviewing and hiring. That's what you're hiring for. You're hiring for the technical knowledge, like can they add, can they subtract, or whatever the case may be that you need for your business. But you're also hiring for, are you positive? Do you have a hospitality aptitude? So I always say, when I'm standing here with no expression on my face, if I'm smiling a little bit, I probably have a hospitality aptitude. Okay? Give me an example of a time when you showed hospitality. What was the situation? What did you do? What was the outcome? So this builds your structured interview guide for how to hire people around that. So important, enabling culture. Okay, let's talk about inspiring employees. Inspiring employees. Why do you think that I's there? Why do you think it's there? Eye contact. Why is eye contact so important? How many times have you looked at your people in the eyes? We're usually telling them what to do, and we got to do this, and see you later, got to get that done. Why don't you take care of that? But how often do we go, hey, how you doing? Hey, can you do me a favor? Can you handle? Awesome, thank you so much. You need anything from me? Perfect. And he's got perfect eyes to look into. Look at his eyes, he's got great eyes. So it's so important that you do that. So inspiring employees starts with who? Us. If we're inspired, what's going to happen with them? They're going to be inspired, right? If we care about them, if we show them that we care, then they're going to care, okay? And that's a challenge I have in my restaurants right now. We're a little bit, we're kind of getting into the customer comes in late at night, and it's like, I got to change that. I got to change that. It's also about your leadership principles. So when we talk about enabling culture, there also should be leadership principles that you live by. Here's just examples. These aren't the ones that you have to live by, but these are some of mine. Got to be consistent, got to care, got to be fair. Okay? 99 other ways. Okay? If Manny. So Manny, if you want us, if you and I are partners, or I work for you, or you work for me, and you want it done this way, and I think it'd be better to be done this way. Well, what inspires employees is if I'm Manny's boss, I say, all right, Manny, let's throw both of our ways out the door, out the window. They're dead to us. Let's come up with 99 other ways. And I guarantee you that by the 99th way, if we're there for 3 weeks coming up with 99 different ways, it's going to be better than A or B. That's how we lead. It's really, really weird for people that work for you when you first start that way. When you say, what do you think? They go, wait, you're the boss. You're supposed to be telling. But we've got to change because, frankly, I don't know all the answers, especially as our customer base is changing. I don't understand millennials. And I have 3 of them, 3 daughters. I still don't get them. Okay? So I need help in that. 99 other ways. Seek to understand before seeking to be understood. I mean, these are all the things that inspire people. Instead of me trying to get my point across to you, tell me your point first. Where are you coming from? And I'm looking you in the eyes, too. We can make decisions based on that, and it's a lot easier. I mean, I use it in my brokerage business. It's a lot easier to negotiate if I know where the other person's coming from. It's a lot more, my dad used to say, he who speaks first loses. So seek to understand before seeking to be understood is really, really important. And I'm telling you, it works in your personal life too. You just have to camouflage it. Honey, what do you think about that? Don't use that work stuff on me. No, I really want to know. What do you think? Okay, sleep on big decisions. If you can sleep on it, if you can wait till tomorrow to make that decision, it's always better in the morning. And you'll make a clearer decision in the morning. So again, these are things that inspire people. I can be very reactive sometimes. I have to protect myself from that. My partner on my brokerage side, who's a millennial, is constantly reminding me, Mike, you can be reactive. Because I'm used to that. I got to make a decision and get on to the next thing. But if you can, sleep on it. This is a big one for people that work with you. A plus A equals A. A plus F equals F. And F plus A equals F. Only way you get an A is A plus A. This A is work. This A is home. Okay? You want to inspire your people? Don't let them miss that soccer game. Don't let them miss that PTA meeting. And afterwards, ask them about it. How is that? How's John doing? How was that meeting? Ask them. Keep it work related, but just say, did it go good? You could even do just a closed-ended question just to make sure that they know that you care. A plus A equals A. Gone are the days where we can say, hey, I don't care about you if you're happy at home. And I'm not saying get involved in their personal life, but I'm saying enable them to have a life. And we all know how hard that is in the restaurant business. So we have to enable it. Treat them like you want to be treated, golden rule. And then the most important thing, hi, how are you? You missed the best part. No, actually, it gets better. Look them in the eyes. Look them in the eyes. Everything changes, right? What's up, man? How are you? Good. It's all different. Now I know him. I know Chris. Right? So now next time I say, hey, Chris, can you do me a favor? Can you grab that table over there? You're going to say, right on. And I may say, hey, can you grab, no, you know what? I got it. Just be, look in the whites of their eyes is so important. Try it with your spouses. Try it with your kids. And at work, do it with your people. You'll blow them away. All the defenses drop. Okay, inspiring employees. Those are just examples. Standing out. I tried to come up with a color that was really hard to see. That's not just a bad slide. So, in the business, right now, in a lot of my restaurants, I'm not standing out the way that I used to stand out. It's a little bit difficult when I've got 1 in 7 and it becomes 1 in 21, and my restaurants are older and a little bit more tired. And there's a big In-N-Out burger and a big Chick-fil-A and a big Whataburger and a Cane's Chicken and a Panera Bread opened up and a Chipotle, you know, who now has Taco Bell's old president, and they're going to become fast food Chipotle. We'll see what happens, maybe. But anyway, it's harder for me to stand out. So the most important question for me to ask, and I'm getting ready to have a meeting as soon as a couple of people are on vacation right now, my team gets back together, is I'm going to go through a SWOT analysis to figure out why are we not standing out. So here's the model that we're going to follow. It's called a root cause analysis. That slide's a little bit high, but anyway, root cause analysis. I'm not going to share with you anything you don't already know, but this is stuff that you better dust it off if you haven't been using it if you want to stand out. Leaders realize or don't realize that these symptoms cause additional symptoms. So my peppercorn model is my peppercorn's a weird peppercorn. It's a droid. It's a strange peppercorn. But the fact is that we know that when we have a root cause thing that we need to fix, it causes other issues, and then those issues cause other issues. Well, a lot of managers, what they do is they say, well, I'm a great manager, I'm a super manager, and I'm just going to fix that, and I feel good, I go home now. But when they fix that one symptom, what happens? Got a bunch of other new symptoms coming up. And actually, the color of the slide's not coming through. This was supposed to be green, not yellow, but it's being translated, I guess, with the pixels, because it's a new green living symptom that just opened up to get us. Because all we did was we put out fires. So how do you get to the root cause? Well, one of the hardest things to do is to get to that root cause. One of the easiest things, I think, in management is to put out all the little fires. Try, everybody on 3 say why. 1, 2, 3. Why? Now try to say it really nice. 1, 2, 3. Why? It's kind of hard, right? It's still like, why? You know, don't ask me why. I don't know. It's a tough question, but it's a real question. So if I find out that that symptom, the reason why that's happening is that symptom, is that a root cause? You probably know deep in your heart it's not. So then why is that symptom happening? Well, it's because of this. Well, why is that happening? Bingo. When you get to the root cause, you'll know you're at the root cause. But you got to ask that powerful question of why, and you got to ask it honestly. You really got to ask it. So if you and your spouse are having an argument and you say, well, why do you feel that way? I guarantee you he or she is going to say, don't use that work stuff on me. But if you camouflage it and say, I wonder what's causing that. There's ways to do it, but it's the most powerful thing. It's the only way that you'll get there. And once you get that root cause out of the way, all the symptoms go away. It's amazing. It's like it's a cleansing. Okay? Easy, right? Doesn't that sound really easy? Is it easy? No. It's hard analytically to try to figure out and ultimately get to that root cause. Sometimes it's a head fake. Sometimes we think we found the root cause when it's actually just a symptom. But I wouldn't worry about that, because once you start solving for what you thought was the root cause, you'll realize, I call it a rat's nest. I remember back in 1991, I was running a bunch of Taco Bells in Atlanta, Georgia. And I took over one of the stores was the worst store I've ever had in my life. And as I started going deep on it, you know, it's like a rat's nest. You shake it and rats just go everywhere, right? As I was working my way into this model, I found more and more stuff until I finally got to the root cause. And guess what the root cause was? What's that? Manager, leader. Leader didn't care. So once I started working with the leader and looking in his eyes and putting together plans and what I call the over-the-brow look of saying, hey, look, we got to get this done. And this stuff's on you. I got some things here too. But let's be clear. Things started getting turned around and we got to the bottom of it. But I mean, there was money missing, there was food costs was out of line, etc. So very, very powerful. You end up, and the reason why I kind of coupled these together is when we talk about our 4th agenda item, which is adapting to the market, that root cause analysis is really powerful for adapting to your market. Because you got to say, what's really happening here? Why am I not standing out? Why am I not kind of hitting that market the way we need to hit the market? So what are the root causes for those sales declines? And solve, again, for the problems, not the symptoms of the root causes. A lot of times, it's staffing, quality and quantity of my staffing. That's tough environment. We're paying more for workers today, and we're getting less productivity. It's just the way it is right now, unfortunately, but it's true. And we got to figure out how to get more excitement and inspiration from those folks. That's not easy stuff. What are the symptoms of that? Unhappy customers, dirty restaurant, food not being produced the way it should be produced, maybe forgetting to put one ingredient on the food because it's just, whatever, they'll never know. It happens, right? That's happening. So those are symptoms of we got the wrong people, or maybe not enough people. Or product quality. Maybe we got the wrong food in our restaurant. Maybe the tastes of our consumers have changed and we have not changed. That's hard stuff to change. It's risky stuff to change. At least you know with the products you have that you're going to get what you're going to get. If you start changing stuff, you could get less. That's a root cause in a lot of cases. Our restaurant's not clean. That's probably a symptom. Or my people aren't being friendly. And all of these, frankly, could be symptoms. Why am I not finding the right people? Why can't I not get enough people? Thank God that the human resource market has changed a little bit. It's gotten a little bit easier over the last 6 months. I don't know if you guys have felt it, but it feels a little bit easier in terms of getting quantity of people. But anyway, so looking at those root causes, getting to those root causes really make a huge difference. So cultivating culture. What kind of culture do you want to cultivate? An enabling culture, remember? So you want to cultivate a culture that builds on what you're trying to accomplish, what your vision is. Inspiring your people. Where should you look when you're trying to inspire your people? Where do you look? In the eyes. Everybody look at each other in the eyes. Look at people around you. Look in their eyes. Look at someone you don't know. Look in their eyes. Now you know. Now you guys know each other. Next time you'll be driving in the car and you'll be like, why did you cut me up? Oh, I know you. So that's good. We're making the world a better place by looking in people's eyes. Root cause analysis. Don't do the easy stuff. Don't put out fires. At home, at work. And finally, in tapping into your market demands, make sure you go to the root cause.